Hi, Hunter. I'm Wendy Wilcox, and I've been going to LCC for 45 years, I guess. Pretty close. Tried to figure it out. Before Randy even came, and he didn't have kids, and Tina. So, my life before Jesus, oh my goodness. So, I was born and raised in a small town in South Dakota. I was the youngest of 6. I had 3 sisters and 2 older brothers. My mom did lose one little baby, the third, so she had 7. By the time she had me, she was early 30s, so she had a lot of babies very young. I was born in a snowstorm in December. The lights went out, it was dark, and so she had a C-section in the dark. So my life started off dramatic already. So they had told my mom already that she shouldn't have another baby because she would probably die. I'm thankful for my mom to be brave and that she kept me safe, and I was born. I loved my siblings and my childhood mostly, but that was, in between the drinking and their fighting and divorces. So many stories, but for another time. So that was part of it. So around the 5th grade, I remember being in the courtroom where the judge asked me to choose between my mom and my dad and brothers. And my heart was torn apart, My older sisters had moved on with their lives, but they always kept in touch with me, always. But they were in California. My dad and my brothers moved to a smaller town where he ran a pool hall. And he lived in a little trailer behind the pool hall, which was a big difference from a big house in Lake Preston. It wasn't fancy, but a big 7-gable house with all of our family, with my grandpa. Then they moved to this tiny trailer behind a pool hall, which is kind of handy when you're an alcoholic to run a pool hall. So my mom and I really don't know where we went. I don't remember where we went that summer, but it wasn't long before we were back with Dad again, even though they were divorced, I think. I don't know if it ever was final, but they did that a couple times. They always did that. They went back and forth, hot and cold, hot and cold. Alcohol was huge in that. It was challenging. I'll always love and treasure my school friends in my small town, That reaching out to those friends actually prepared me for my future, my work, and today, really. So my oldest sister came again and asked my dad if I could come live with them again in another small town where the couch was my bed too. So I always had a couch. Are you dizzy yet? That was a busy junior high life there. But there I had stability for 3 years in high school, sophomore, junior, senior. I went to a school where I witnessed my sister's good marriage. I helped, they had little acreage, helped with the animals, the chores, hauling bales, take it roofing a roof. My brother-in-law was amazing, my niece. They were great. I had a pig, a lamb, I had sheep, helped, lots of stuff, I had some peace. I loved my high school and my friends there. I got good grades. I was really active in school. I was determined not to get pregnant in high school, because everybody had pinned you, that one's gonna get pregnant. But I was determined not to. Just because her parents are divorced, I was like, I didn't have to fail too, right? That was my mind. I had the best intentions, but I never asked God for his advice. However, shortly out of school, I did get pregnant and married. Then my first husband joined the Navy. We moved to San Diego where my other brothers and sisters were, fortunately. So he was really a great guy, but I was unfulfilled, and we went to church there. I tried to do right. I tried to get back on track. I taught some Sunday school even. Anybody can teach a little Bible story, right? I kept telling myself, well, you're just too young. You shouldn't have got married. You're not in love. You want more. I didn't realize until later what that hole in my heart was. So I was selfish, and I broke my marriage. And he didn't deserve that. So, skip ahead a little bit. 1975, I met Jackie, my husband of 36 years. At a wedding, I met him. I was the maid of honor. He was the best man. I thought I found what I was missing, right? My gentle, kind-hearted, guitar-holding soulmate. And we had little girl soon after that. So, how and when did I encounter Jesus? So, in South Dakota, way back when I was a little girl, my mom did take us to church a little bit, at the Lutheran church down the street. I remember Jesus clearly, the little chairs and the stories. Mom loved Jesus, and she always told me she loved me and Jesus loved me. She had issues, but she was a sweet lady. She just had a lot going on. Once she took me to a different church. I was very little. They were singing, their hands were raised, and it was like a dream to me. I was so little, but I knew I loved it there. It was way different than when I was at the Lutheran church where we were like this. Not that they were mean at all, but it was just, this. After we moved where my dad had the pool hall, I was in like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I went to the little church there with some of my friends. They handed out a kids' Bible study by Billy Graham. And at that point, my mom was gone. I was there with my 2 brothers, right? And so I did the little homework with Billy Graham and sent it in. I can just almost see the little book. And I know I liked it, and I really needed that at the time. It was about God's love, and he died for me, and forgiveness. And I knew that. I went, I understood it. I don't remember saying, hey, come into my heart, but I'm sure I prayed the prayer in the book. At that point, I think I really learned not to be mad at my parents. I saw them. It's like he let me see they didn't have the tools. And so I never was bitter towards them. They had trouble, a lot of trouble. I saw a lot of fights, but I let it go, and I thank God for that my whole life, because not all of our siblings felt that way. Time passed, I'm married, have a little girl, right? I've got my little girl. San Diego, where I tried to straighten my path, I went to church again. I was a good person. I knew Jesus was my Savior, but he wasn't my Lord. It was my way, and it was the wrong way. So my neighbor, Mary Toomey, who goes to our church right now, actually, she's an older lady at our church. Her husband, Sam, was one of our first elders here. He's in heaven now. She invited me to a Bible study with a bunch of blue-haired ladies, which is interesting, which I'd never been to a Bible study before that I can remember. I was very ripe for needing help. And that day, I cried out to God with all my heart. I raised my hands and said, I need you, with my voice out loud, which I'd never done before. The sweet ladies were around me, but they weren't touching me. I knew they were praying for me, but I was just crying. The tears just rolled. I just went, it's enough. I need you, I need you. I raised my hands and I never did that before. And that day, I can't put it into words. This warmth came over me like I'll never forget. And I know you're not supposed to go on experiences and all that, but it was a touch from God. I could never forget it. And I just changed. I was just like, I need you, changed to praise you. It just changed. I've never been in a spirit-filled church. You know what I just said. I need you. And then just praise you. Like, where did that come? I didn't even think about it. Thank you, because I'm getting this touch, like gold running through me, hot gold. And I'm just like, it's just like Father, all my childhood, he was just healing me, you know? And then it just changed. My words changed to something else. And I was like, what is this? I didn't even think, what is this? I was just drunk. Literally, I found later when I read the Bible that I was drunk with the Spirit. And I just kept on and on. Mary was laughing so hard. She walked me to the car and put me in the car, and she sat there, and I'm just laying there, just praying. Never stopped. It just kept going. And then I finally got home, and I tried to share that with Jackie, and he thought I was crazy. Maybe, hold on just a second. But when I read the Bible and I realized what was happening to me, the beauty of this, I never heard of this before. I didn't have anything hindering me, blocking anything, saying, this is not of God. How could that not be of God? God knew very well what I was going to face in the next few days, the next years. He knew what was going to happen to me. So I'm so thankful for that, because I didn't have that hindrance, that the lies about this is not good. It was so good. It kept my praying in the Spirit to God. When everybody else was smoking pot in the other room, I would be in the bathroom praying in the Spirit for them. And it wasn't long later, they were all going to church and saved. So it was like, and praying in the Spirit as well. So I was understanding the Bible now. I was like, oh my gosh. And when I read John 1, John 6, 68, 69, where it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And I realized, my gosh, that's Jesus. And I was just like, what? Changed my life. It was just, the Word is alive, you know? And there were so many answered prayers. I could spend hours really telling you all the answered prayers in my life. I at first went and apologized to those that I hurt. My first husband, others along the way, I asked forgiveness. He did actually bring a job to Jackie when we prayed for that job. He brought it to the door by the Avon lady, because her husband needed somebody to work in his shop. And Jackie was hired and learned a trade from that experience. And he also directed other jobs over the years, 2 of mine. One lasted 19 years for me, 19 years with another one that I had great health insurance, which we didn't know how bad we were going to need it. But several friends, like I said, came to the Lord and became a part of our church, an elder of our church. My husband and his brothers all played on the worship team, all their little long hair at the end of the hippie era, you know. So happy when Randy came as a pastor, we voted him in. This young group of hashtag, there was probably 35 of us, I guess, when Randy came. He didn't have any kids, him and Tina. We helped build the church on Beltline. Jackie took another job, and we saved and helped to pay for the land and the building. And we had a surprise addition later. We had our 2 girls, but then, we had a little boy later. Our son, who played baseball, was a busy life till college with him. During this time, God taught me how to fight in the Spirit for our marriage when it was on the rocks. Jackie went through a battle of his own for a while, 10 years out of church after he was an elder. And then he taught me how to praise around Jericho for the walls to come down. And, you know, they did come down. And he came back. He's held me and my family through grieving. So many of my family have been lost these last few years. my parents a while back, his parents just shortly before, and all his brothers passed. One with the skydiving, so many, my sister. But God is so close to the brokenhearted. And he was so very close to guiding our steps. When my husband was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, because he smoked for years, but he'd stopped for 12, the time he gave us to be around him was priceless. The job that he brought to me, he gave us the best health insurance and covered everything. And we're talking everything. He had cancer here, brain cancer, surgeries. You know, we didn't have any money, but we had, through this other job that I got, God provided everything, covered everything. You know, lying in the hospice bed, Jackie said, that he became the man he always wanted to be with the cancer. Oh, Jesus was just shining through him. People would come and he'd say, "Can I pray for you?" He had a patch over his eye, lost all this feeling. We stood on John 6, 68 and 69. He said, "Lord, to who should we go? You have the words of eternal life. And we have believed and have come to know that you are the Holy One of God." So, sorry, not sorry. I'm 71, so I could say that, I guess. God's been with me all these years, patiently waiting for me to receive his love and believe in the Lamb who takes away the sin of the world. That little girl in that very small town in a trailer that he cared for. Jesus, he's my rock, my fortress, everything. Comfort, my strong tower, my Redeemer, my best friend, my Savior, my Lord, and my King. I'm sorry. He's so faithful, and he's my husband. So what's my life like now? I have 6 grands, 4 granddaughters, 2 grandsons. It has been 12 years since he went to be with the Lord. And God is still holding us and my family very close in his arms. I have to read this now because I can't see my tears. I know that because he promised, and if he wasn't, I'd be in a very different place right now. I've done some travel because of his provision, which I never imagined possible. I'm ever learning how to have empathy and compassion for others. I fall short so often, but my Father nudges me and sometimes has to poke me a little harder. Since 2018, I've been so blessed to lead the Singles Plus group here at church. We call it Plus because sometimes they get married and they stay. It's a care group, all types, singles, widows, widowers, divorced, never married, ages ranges from 30 to 89. I would just say that God has been so faithful to me and my family. I love him so much. He's always there for me. And just, even when I was faithless, he was faithful to me. And he can be trusted and to share him with others. And he's been with my girls, my son, and our family. And that, what was meant to destroy us, brought our family so close together. And you know, God is so good and so faithful. You can trust him with everything. Even if you don't hear him, you can still hear him in the Word. He speaks to you in his Word, and he'll get you through it, whatever it is, you know. And right now, I am able to serve in my church. I'm retired, and I love the Lord, and I just want people to know how much he loves him. How much he loves you. And even this crazy one, this little girl from South Dakota, from a broken home and broken marriage, that he can make things new, no matter what. He's faithful when we're faithless. So, I love you guys.